Good evening. I am Miriam Abdul-Kawi, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News tonight. Government scraps its plan to sell the Caye Caulker police station land, but the village council says they won't let up until they get the land in their name. And bus fares were supposed to go up tomorrow, but the Ministry of Transport has put that on pause tonight. We'll have the latest, plus the mood from commuters. Also, we'll talk to the Minister of Human Development about what breakdown in procedure allowed an abusive cop to walk free of harm charges against an 8-year-old. Plus, a major upgrade for the UB School of Medicine will show you a state-of-the-art digital anatomy table. These stories and much more are ahead on 7 News tonight, so please stay tuned.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Altun Ha is one of the most visited Mayan city up until lately. The adjacent communities have collaborated together to see how they can get a space here that the wood carvers could actually market and sell their product. Not having the POS machine in the past, we have lost a lot of sales. Atlantic Bank helped supported our business, giving us the opportunity to get the POS machine. Now with the POS machine, we are able to do more sales, and that will, also bring more, finance to our families.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
2026 marks a major milestone in the history of Belize's healthcare sector. The 25th anniversary of the National Health Insurance (NHI) program and the long-awaited national rollout of NHI services to the Cayo district, finally fulfilling a dream of primary healthcare coverage for all Belizeans. What started as an idea in 1998 became a reality in 2001 and has served thousands of Belizeans over the last 2.5 decades by providing access to quality healthcare, now in every corner of Belize.
One of the central pillars of NHI is access to quality health care.
All Belizeans will have access to quality hospital services through a national health insurance system.
It's a milestone that the whole country and all of the people of Belize, anyone who has a social security card, it's minimal out-of-pocket expenses, it's high-quality primary care. It allows almost all the population then to have the same level of health care wherever you are.
In 1998, the then Honorable Said Musa convened a group of us to work on the manifesto, and then a group of people in the medical field, and started brainstorming of how we could better healthcare for Belizeans.
The beginning can be traced to a study done by Cambridge Consultancy, where they produced a document on how to improve healthcare in Belize. One of the features of that study was the proposal that we have national health insurance.
As a matter of urgency, we will radically transform Belize's health system to ensure equitable access to quality health services.
It took a lot of courage to implement and begin the NHI. Prime Minister Musa made the bold decision to implement it.
So with a clear plan and vision for the future of Belize's healthcare sector, the NHI program was launched in Belize City's south side as a pilot project on August 9, 2001.
For the next 6 months, the 37,000 residents living on the south side of the Belize district will be able to receive free health care.
Prime Minister Said Musa, who cut the ribbon at today's opening, remains firmly committed to NHI.
But it will involve, as you no doubt have heard, the participation of 4 primary care facilities, 3 eye care centers, 5 pharmacies, laboratories, and 3 imaging centers. in a new partnership between the public and private sector health providers.
You can walk into a primary care provider clinic. You can seek a consultation with a general practitioner. If in the event that you need a prescription, they will give you a prescription, and then you have a choice of 5 pharmacies where you can get that medication prescribed free of charge.
And though the NHI embarked on a journey to transform the country's health sector, it was met with its fair share of challenges.
It was a new concept.
It was a new idea, a very, very new concept. It was difficult. We met resistance from everybody. It was a up and down situation for many years until we finally convinced the Prime Minister at the time we needed to do a pilot project to see how it would function. We got consultants and we started the pilot project in the south side of Belize City.
Despite any prior reservations, in the 25 years that have followed, NHI has grown from a pilot project focusing on the south side of Belize City to a national health plan felt as far and wide as Pachacan in the north and as deep south as Dolores in the Toledo district. Today, NHI provides invaluable primary health care to some of Belize's most vulnerable members of society. And as it commemorates 25 years of service and a full national expansion, NHI is ready to move into the next phase of service to the Belizean people, with over 225,000 residents currently registered to the program and expectations for that number to reach over 300,000 after full national coverage.
We have 80,000 people with valid Social Security cards in the Caye district. So we expect them to be the ones that will come to register for NHI.
Under this current administration, the NHI program has reached new heights, especially with financing from the proceeds of the sale of Toledo to the Belize Government Lotteries Limited. And with no plans to slow down anytime soon, the sky is the limit for NHI as it endeavors to serve Belize for another 25 years and beyond.
The expansion at 25 years is awesome. It marks a milestone. I believe it's going to be a legacy of the PEP government in their effort and their endeavor to give quality care, access to care, and ensure that the people of Belize have what they deserve in terms of medical care.
Well, it's a milestone that the NHI is celebrating 25 years this year, 2026. Now that we have achieved this so far, I would want, or my vision would be that the same applies to secondary health care, that it be extended into the hospital services countrywide. And I hope it doesn't take another 25 years for that to happen.
The role of the social security system will be expanded to increase its contributions with the establishment of a national health insurance program.
I think NHI is forever. It's not gonna go. It might change. It should change. Our communities change, so the way we serve them has to change. But the concept of NHI, the concept of having universal coverage of primary health care for our Belizean people is here to stay.
NHI, an enabler of quality health and wellness for all.
Champion security, champion security, champion security. Yeah. Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, champion security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. And boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where safety is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You wanna rent it, that's not a problem. We got remote gate.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We begin our newscast with one of our top stories tonight, where on Tuesday, Cabinet approved an increase in bus fares based on a request and a threat from the Belize Bus Association. The new fares were supposed to take effect tomorrow, April 24th, but tonight, that's been put on pause. That's after a meeting between the BBA and the Ministry of Transport today. They jointly agreed to delay the increase until further notice. Well, today in Belmopan, CEO at the Ministry of Transport, Chester Williams, and the president of the BBA, Philip Jones, explained how they arrived at the decision.
We met this morning, our ministry, along with the BBA, to see how we're going to do the calculation based on the adjustment that has been made, that has been approved by Cabinet. And so we were basically here this morning, up to this afternoon, working out the different rates as we go along the highways. And I must say that we are grateful for the support of the BBA in this respect. We believe that in order to reduce any friction in this process, that it was best for us to do it together as opposed to we doing it and send it to them and then there might be disagreement. So putting our heads together and our expertise was the best way to go, and I believe that we achieved a lot today in making sure that we were able to complete this process. Well, as you know, that there is the short stops. Short stops will go up to like between 1 mile to 10 miles, and the short stops do have a cost. So the short stop, they add a slight increase to the short stop, which will be like maybe 50 cents. And then after the short stop, then apply the 18 cents per mile ratio. And then that then gives you the amount that the commuter is going to pay based on the 18 cents per mile ratio.
It was a very tedious process. The ministry and their personnel were very professional. It was cordial. And I must say that the commuters will see in many areas a decrease in the fares that they were paying. So now the alignment assists in alleviating whatever was overpriced to reduce that cost, and there will be certain areas you will see probably a 50 cents to $1 increase. So basically it's just a price adjustment and a price alignment.
And for good measure, the CEO also responded to comments made at the UDP press conference yesterday when they criticized the National Bus Company.
You know, there is a thing that when you try to do something and you were unsuccessful at doing it, or you couldn't do it to a certain standard and someone comes behind and master it, you tend to criticize them. And that's what is happening here. The UDP were there for many years. The question is, what did they do? This has been a government that has responded to the needs of the people, a government that just doesn't do things because they want to do it, but they do a complete assessment of what is it that we need to do to make things better for people. And so for the UDP to have criticized in their, I don't know, that press conference or how you want to call it, is rather hypocritical, because even before the increase was announced by Cabinet, they were already speaking that the government should give the bus operators what they're asking for. Now, here comes the government giving their bus operators some of what they asked for, and they still criticize. They need to say what they mean and mean what they say.
So while the new bus fares are on hold, the fact is that what Cabinet approved would increase an express run to Belmopan by $2 each way. That's $20 weekly for the average commuter. And even though it's on pause for the time being, it's coming soon enough. And how do commuters feel about it? Well, this afternoon we took a trip to the main terminal during one of the busiest hours and heard what a few commuters had to say.
Sir, how often do you catch the bus?
Every day.
From where to where?
Belize, Ladeville, or Griga.
So now that price is going up, how does this make you feel?
Well, what is for Caesar's give to Caesar. You can't change it.
So do you think that you will travel less or?
Well, you have to. You have to travel less, yeah. Because you have to pay $2 extra. I don't know how much you'll be if you have to find out to the south or whatever, but you'll be more.
I don't really think it's fair for the Belizean people because the bus owners that said they're not going to make no money. But the real question is, what are you guys doing with the money that you're making? And then another thing, if gas price should go down, they won't even take down the price for the bus fare. So I don't think it's fair for the Belizean people.
Do you travel often?
Yes, I depend on the bus.
Oh, from where to where do you usually travel?
Pabaj Road to city to the town.
And do you travel out district?
Yes, I do.
You have to travel less now?
Well, the traveling less than my problem because I don't even go nowhere. But I just say enough fair because if today or tomorrow decide to take down the price for the gas, then I'll take down the price for the bus fare.
Honestly, the government the chance we. Reason why? I understand gas price is high, but also you have to work along with people who not have it, especially how they change people who can't stop at certain stops. I feel it unfair because at the end of the day, they don't want to carry up the pay. So I don't feel like it's fair.
You travel often?
Yes, I do.
By bus?
By bus, yes.
And so how do you feel now knowing that it going up, you have to travel less or?
Well, I just have to start quoting harder.
We'll let you know when the new fares are introduced. And continuing with our top stories tonight, the Caye Caulker Village Council is one step closer to controlling what happens on their seafront police station property, the now famous parcel 815. After a Take No Prisoners public pressure campaign, it seems government has given up on any designs it had on selling the prime property and cashing in on the value. Area Representative Andre Perez confirmed today that construction of the police station will resume, which means that any plan to sell it is DED. This comes after Chairlady Selene Villanueva Pot met on Monday with the Prime Minister, the Police Minister, and the area rep in Belmopan. She told us they offered her council a wish list, which the villagers rejected, which means they continue with their fight to get the land transferred into the village council's name. Here's more.
PM made a proposal to the village council saying exactly what we knew, which was they had an offer. Minister Mira also made it clear that there was also an offer for the basketball court by the same company. And they made a proposal to us saying that they could have given us 7.7. It's basically our wish list for Caye Caulker, things that we've always wanted, or other properties in a trust. We said we'd come back with this list presented to our community, and we did just that. We had a meeting on Tuesday. Of course, the community outrightly denied that. We had a vote of the members present at that meeting, and it was a resounding no that they didn't want those 7 things. There was no negotiations, as a matter of fact, for parcel 815. What the community wanted was parcel 815 and the police station to be built there, as that property was given from a private landowner to the Caye Caulker community, and it should be kept for that purpose only. We really haven't stopped our fight. All of this week we've been having public meetings, and we've been engaging the public. As a matter of fact, we had a discussion with the community at the community meeting, and they've insisted that we continue with a second demonstration today. So that will be underway shortly. The people is quite adamant of what they want. They want parcel 815 to remain a community property. PM did give his reassurance that it will be just that, if that's what the community wants. And I really hope that we have been given the PM's word. But we probably want that to be transferred back into the Caye Caulker Village Council's name. If it was given to the community, it is only right that it is given to the entity that oversees the community, which would rightly be us.
And while the pressure continues until they get the land in their name, Villanueva Potts says that she's been given an undertaking that the work on the station at parcel 815 continues, even if the area rep put out a vague public statement on it. I was assured by Minister Mira that construction will continue at parcel 815. This I was given a verbal assurance. I noticed that in Minister's Paris press release that wasn't mentioned. I don't think it was mentioned. I haven't read it. I haven't analyzed it as yet, but I am hoping. Oh, it didn't say. Okay, see, I was given that reassurance by Minister Mira, and I'm hoping that that is the case. I somewhat feel as though Minister Paris is, from what you read to me just now, it feels kind of empty. It's not giving me the reassurance that I would have wanted. I would have wanted it to say parcel 815 will be given to the Caye Caulker community. We will transfer the land back into the Caye Caulker community's name. That was the kind of reassurance that we would have wanted. I'm not sure where we are with that, but I will look into see if we could get some form of commitment from our area rep with that. I believe the area rep now knows that parcel 815 is of great value to the entire Caye Caulker community. Paris has since confirmed to XTV that construction work will continue on the station. And we take a break now, but when we come back, we'll talk to the Minister of Human Development about that police abuse case and a major upgrade for the UB School of Medicine. We'll show you a state-of-the-art digital anatomy table. Stay tuned for more news.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
This is a Jack X200. This is a very recommendable vehicle. Storage capacity to the max, right? Fuel efficient, easy rider, AC not a play, the pump, comfortable, and it carry me to all my destination. I can count on Jack to take me and my packages where I need to go. I recommend it anytime. We're the best from the West.
I have the biggest constituency in the country of Belize. The people want to know what can I do for them? How can we provide lots for our people?
That'll be the main entrance right there, sir.
We are putting roads, we are putting drainage if possible.
Finish a road, we start the next one.
Phase by phase.
I build up for my picnic as a single father now.
This one be the door right there, sir.
Me, myself, happy. I never want a piece of land.
Right over here, the kitchen,
And at the job, I got a job where, you know, I carry food for my family every day.
2-bedroom, slowly but surely. I can reach my lot where I want and when I want.
Uno se siente alegre porque por lo menos lo que uno construye es para el futuro de los hijos.
I want my own place. My kids then get big.
5 of them in the backyard with me, and I have my land documents in my hand.
Where the TV plant grow very good. Open up this little area, make it look like a nice little city.
Once I'm involved in something, I'll make sure it comes to fruition. And once you can provide them with a piece of land, that is gold for them.
Look here, your kitchen light there and you been in the kitchen. But I'm going back in there right now. And the coffee maker?
Just to try to keep the coffee warm for later.
Where do you know?
I'll try to think about what to eat.
You know the more you open and close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool.
Uh-huh.
On a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You charge your phone right now?
No.
Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC, they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house, and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
I've always been fascinated with gemstones. It's all about taking nature's beauty and creating something uniquely beautiful. I've had inspiration from the Belize Blue Bull, the beaches, the jaguar. I've launched a new product called Co-Design with Deb, and Atlantic Bank's e-commerce system has opened the door to my international customers so I can receive payments so they can have their custom pieces shipped to them.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corzal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years. Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your nation station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, champion security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out what they go on inside of Champion Security. And boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where your safe stay is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You wanna rent it? It's not a problem. We got remote gate.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We continue our newscast about that police abuse story. PC Philip Garbutt walked free on Tuesday after his common-law wife withdrew assault charges against him. However, the dismissal has sparked controversy, as Garbutt was also charged with assaulting her 8-year-old son. So, how were charges involving a minor allowed to be dropped? Well, according to the Minister of Human Development, the court's decision was a grave oversight by the presiding magistrate. The minister joined us via Zoom to explain the procedural failure in detail.
On Tuesday, the social workers from the Department of Human Development, that is a department that deals with cases involving children, was not there because they were not summoned to court, because all that should have happened at court on Tuesday was disclosure. And so there was no need for us to be summoned, for the caseworkers to be summoned, nor the prosecutor. No one was summoned because it was simply disclosure. It's a great oversight, if you will, because what happened was outside of the protocol. They weren't there to do anything but get disclosure on the case. The child was there because he was part of the case. The oversight and what happened outside of protocol is that they were allowed to, the mother was allowed to drop the charges. And what didn't happen was, my understanding is that there was an oversight, a grave oversight by the magistrate who did not really verify what were the charges, all the charges, because there was one obviously for the mother, and there was a separate charge for what happened to the child. The magistrate in this instance did not follow the protocol that has been established for these types of cases, and I believe erroneously dismissed the case, and the arresting officer wasn't there, the social worker wasn't there, to be able to say, wait, hold on, that's not what we're here for, and there are other things that you need to consider before you dismiss the charges.
Garcia also told us what the department is now doing to ensure the child's safety.
Tomorrow, we go back in and ask for a supervision order that will allow social workers and caseworkers from the Department of Human Services to access the child and the home to verify from time to time without any advance notice. They can pop in and verify the physical and emotional integrity of the child. So that's a supervisory order. We're also going to ask for a protection order on behalf of the child, and that means that the stepfather will not be able to have any access to the home or anywhere, or the school or anywhere the child normally is. A lot of people, I'm on social media as well, sometimes, when you're in the vehicle, you tend to scroll, are asking why a protection order was not done before. It wasn't done because according to our investigation and according to what we know from the social workers, the stepfather, after the incident, removed himself and left the house. So we didn't feel like at the time that was necessary because he had already left, and we have been keeping up with the case, and there was no need to. We are going back now and doing the supervision and the protection order so that we can verify now that the case is thrown out, that he does not come back into the household, because that cannot happen. One of the things we don't like to do is to take children away from their homes. By all accounts, the child, as you can see, loves his mom very much, willing to stand up to anyone to defend his mother, to defend a person that he loves. We don't think, or the social workers and caseworkers do not think at this time, that any benefit can come from removing the child from this home. He's very attached to his siblings. He is very attached to his mom. And once there is no danger and threat to him from inside that home, we think the best thing is to leave him in that family setting. He is now receiving already psychological support and therapy, because obviously we do not believe that this is the first time that this incident occurred. And so we're working with the family, working with the mom, and working with the child in order for him to reestablish himself and to ensure that he heals.
But after dropping the charges, the mother faced serious social media backlash in the form of victim blaming and, as Ramirez put it, victim shaming. As a survivor of domestic violence herself, she explained that it generally takes women 8 attempts before they can leave an abusive partner, and that by the time the abuse becomes physical, the perpetrator has already exercised control over the victim. Here's how she put it in detail.
Violence towards a partner is basically about control. And before the violence becomes physical and before there's hitting and beating, there's a lot of psychological control. There are many things that, if I were given a chance to speak to other persons that have been in this situation, it's the same sort of treatment that you get. You get a lot of isolation from friends and family. And the only voice you're hearing day in and day out is one that tells you that you're not worthy, that you don't mean anything to anyone, and because no one's coming around. And a lot of times family doesn't come close because they realize that them coming close to you makes problems for you. And so, they pull back a little bit and you're pulled away. And so it's a lot of mind control and a lot of, just feeding you the narrative that you can't do without them. And if you have somebody saying that to you and you're emotionally dependent on one person and to the exclusion of everybody else, you feel a deep sense of loneliness and isolation. And that, again, goes back and really feeds back into that emotion that you're lonely and that you have nobody and nobody wants you, because the perpetrator has isolated you from everybody, that would tell you, no, you're not alone. We love you. We want you. We are here for you to support you. And so it's a physical isolation as well as a mental and emotional isolation to ensure that you depend on that one person economically, emotionally, and physically, and in all ways, because it's about control. When the person reads, and when other women in the country reads what happens to this woman and how she is being blamed for another person attacking her and her child, do you think that that makes an environment in which you can trust anybody to come out and say, this is happening to me and I need help?
Ramirez had offered the mother support from herself and the ministry if she needs it. She added that the DPP has also done interviews and they are awaiting her decision on the matter. And just 2 days after PC Philip Garbutt had charges of aggravated assault and wounding dropped against him, another police officer was in court for assaulting his wife. 37-year-old Mercedes Chiak was arraigned this morning on charges of use of deadly means of harm and wounding. His wife was in court and wanted to drop the charges. However, she was not allowed inside the courtroom, and no plea was taken from Chiak because the prosecutor said they are awaiting the DPP's directives. And according to police reports, around 11 on Sunday night, Chiak's wife arrived home and Chiak immediately became aggressive. He then attacked her and began choking her. Two men then intervened, and that's when Chiak got a knife and allegedly stabbed his wife in the neck, and then he also allegedly stabbed himself in the neck. And they were both rushed to the hospital. In court, Chiak met bail of $2,000 and is due back on June 9th. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, a tour on Marine Parade turned chaotic when 41-year-old American housewife Tanya Lee Everett rear-ended a Calypso train in her Volkswagen pickup, injuring 3 tourists. In court today, it was revealed Everett had been driving with insurance that expired over a month ago. And appearing with attorney Steve Pereira, she pleaded guilty to using an unlicensed and uninsured vehicle, resulting in a $210 fine and an immediate 1-year driving ban. Everett pleaded not guilty to the more serious charges of negligent grievous harm and driving without due care and attention. She was granted a $400 bail and must return to court on June 11th. And now turning our attention to that UB story. Since 2019, the UB School of Medicine has consistently leveled up its tech-driven curriculum. Their latest advancement is a digital anatomy table, a gift from Taiwan that functions both horizontally and vertically to bring medical studies to life. Our very own Jo Marie Lanza has this story.
5 centuries ago, Leonardo da Vinci hunched over a wooden cadaver table to map the human form. Today, the UB School of Medicine is revolutionizing that tradition with the swipe of a finger. The state-of-the-art digital anatomy table marks a massive leap from the pungent traditional labs of decades past. By replacing scalpels with high-definition touchscreens, students can now peel back layers of the human body and examine its intricacies with surgical precision. The UB School of Medicine now has its hands on this state-of-the-art anatomy table, and today they gave us a demo on how they plan to use this state-of-the-art teaching tool.
We've known about it for a couple months that it has been coming, so I think our faculty has dedicated over 50 to 60 hours just reading manuals and studying about it so that when it got here, it would make the 2-day training a bit easier. To have this level of technology here, our students are as excited as we are. We get to have because of ethical reasons, sometimes you can't use cadavers. So we get to have multiple cadavers of different ethnicities, different diseases that we can study at our fingertips. So I think anybody in medicine, any enthusiastic about this topic would be very thrilled to see it. And it is open. We don't intend to keep it for UB School of Medicine. Anybody who wants to come in, any professional to use it, they can come in and we will guide them on how to use.
The software has multiple capabilities, and Mogel, along with her students, are still unlocking all the ways they can use the table to learn. So how does this change learning for you and for your students as well compared to the traditional methods before?
So traditionally, we would use textbooks. So our students would have physical textbooks or electronic copies or also written textbooks. Now with this, we have a 3D model in front of you. So you can actually take the human body, you can dissect it, you can do any cut you wish. You can change different angles, so you can do sagittal, coronal views. And we can pinpoint the muscle, the organ inside, the vein inside. We can also assimilate surgeries. We can do colonoscopies, fracture reductions, and this will give our students a feel of what it is like to be out in the workforce before they get there. So before they reach KHMH to do their clinicals, they would be able to do all of these procedures here at the med school. It builds knowledge, it builds trust, and it also builds on the knowledge that we already have incorporated here, teaching them.
CEO in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Julio Sabido, says that it is important for aspiring medical professionals to learn within their country so they know how to handle certain cases unique to Belize.
I mean, we've been involved with the establishment of the university mainly because we are very much aware that we need our doctors to know the context of the epidemiological profile of the people that they're going to be managing. If you study in Cuba, if you study in Guatemala, Mexico, the US, the diseases are different because the context of the country is different. And so having a homegrown school is very important because they're going to be going to the hospitals, the national hospitals, and that's where they're going to be seeing Belizean patients with, for lack of a better word, Belizean diseases. I mean, there's no such thing, right? But what I'm getting at, they're going to be seeing people that have the disease here in Belize, and so they're going to be treating with the medicine that is available in Belize. It's going to allow the students to minimize errors, minimize the guesswork, minimize, let me put it in a positive context. It's going to make them more precise in the way that they learn. It's going to make them more precise in how they diagnose. It's going to make them more precise in how they do surgeries, because as you heard, that can also simulate certain surgeries as well. So it is, for lack of a better term, next level for the students.
At present, the medical program has 5 students in their first year program and 7 in their second year. The Dean of the School of Medicine says the table is also a symbol of the confidence that Taiwan has in them to carry out and produce successful medical professionals.
And so when the president and the ambassador had a discussion about this program in particular, that's what we requested, and their government took it under consideration and came back and said yes. And so we chose a Taiwan-based company and their best table, and that's how that particular partnership came. It's on several levels, and we cannot ignore its recruitment factor. To show that we are progressive and progressing, to show that we are offering that person or that Belizean student who wants to be at the top of the game, we are there with them. We can help them get there. And that It's a sign of confidence in what we're doing, expressed by a country that has been a great friend and mentor to this country.
The anatomy table is valued at $150,000 USD. Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
And Belize is wise to start training its crop of homegrown medical professionals because we can't rely on the Cuban Medical Brigade forever. Even right now, owing to U.S. pressure, their future remains in limbo. But what would happen in Belize if they were suddenly forced to cancel the program and lose the services of 37 Cuban doctors and 47 nurses? Would rural public health care collapse? The CEO denied that. Here's more.
Definitely, there will not be a collapse. That I can tell you. We have other means. I don't know. Again, context. We don't have one single facility where these people are placed. You might have 2 nurses in northern region. You might have 3 nurses in western region, 4 doctors in KHMH. So we just have to maybe increase over time. But there will definitely not be a collapse.
And in such a case, the solution would be to balance and even out the number of nurses and medical professionals at each public healthcare facility. But with a recent 1-year pause on transfers, would the ministry still be able to make these accommodations? Sabido says that it depends on the case and how urgently a transfer is needed. Here's more.
It will affect our ministry in a certain extent, but I think there's still leeway for us to transfer people based on exigencies. You might have some areas that have too many nurses. You might have some areas that have too many, I don't want to use too many, that have more nurses or more laboratory technicians, for example, and then you have areas that might need. So we just have to make the case for these things.
And in addition to other human resource strains on the healthcare system, has the price of fuel been affecting the ministry's mobilization and outreach? The CEO says that in the reports that they have gotten, they rarely do exceed their monthly fuel budget for the month.
It does not risk threatening health outreach. The Assets and Utilities unit has been sending us our fuel consumption for the past, I don't know, a year. We go over it most, and I say most because nothing is 100%. 99% of the time, we are way below the fuel allocation that we are given monthly. There's a few times, there are a few times that some facilities might have extra runs or something, but I don't foresee any misuse.
We also asked the CEO about the process of internal and external consultation, or lack thereof, that led to the recent decision to enforce the existing prescription regulations. Sabido explained the rationale.
First of all, I don't think there was any need to enforce, because we have always been telling the pharmacists when we, the Ministry of Health, when we go to do inspections, ensure that you educate your patients. I don't know why the pharmacists and the pharmacists took this out of context. It's something that has been happening for the past, I don't know, 5-6 years from before I became the CEO. So it's nothing new. The enforcement was not draconian, it was not forced. It's something that we've been telling the people from way back when. I think Dr. Diaz described it pretty well, that it could have been maybe a few pharmacists or pharmacists who have been non-compliant, because 90 or a bit higher percentage have been compliant, and maybe the ones that were not started to say, well, you know what, I need to become compliant, and so they are the ones that started to ask their patients to be compliant. But I think we're putting this too much in a negative light. We want the patients, we want the Belizean population to have not only access, but safe access to medication, and we have been misusing medication for a long time.
But the public backlash has been tremendous. So, would the ministry do it the same way again? CEO Sabito stressed that the regulations are in the interest of public health and wellness, but they could have done a better job explaining the initiative.
We see as a benefit to the Belizean people, not as a hindrance. As I said, we want safe access. I'll put something into context, which I think the directors, the staff of the technical staff of the Ministry of Health and Wellness have done already. If I have abdominal pain, for example, and I go to the pharmacy and I started with 200 milligrams of ibuprofen. I took it, it eased, went away for 2-3 hours, came back. I go back and I get an 800 milligram ibuprofen. Goes away for another couple of hours. But I didn't go and see what the cause of the pain was. Could have been an appendicitis. And because I masked that pain with the painkiller, I am delaying the health seeking that I should have done. By the time I get to the hospital, that appendix might have already burst. I'm just putting it into context. There are reasons why we want them to do that. And as you said, in hindsight, we should have explained those reasons and maybe would have gotten better results. But at the end of the day, what we want is safe access and for the people to be aware of what they should do to get medical assistance.
Can you discuss?
And we take a break now, but when we come back, we'll introduce you to the Farmers of the Year. Plus, excitement in the gun business after government lifted the moratorium on licenses for .223 rifles. But Jules Vasquez has the tough questions for the chairman of Firearms Control Board. Stay tuned for that story and much more.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
As a small business, I started to attend pop-up shops like many other businesses, and we found that our customers wanted to pay by card and not cash. I went to Atlantic Bank, and immediately, without a problem, it's like, yes, you can have a POS system. That POS system we now use in-house, and we can also take it countrywide wherever we are. They were willing to take the time. They were willing to be patient with us as we grew our business, and that, for us, that meant the world.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We continue our newscast with a story of an attempted kidnapping. Police in Dangriga are investigating an attempted kidnapping reported on Wednesday, April 22nd, involving a 17-year-old student. A 50-year-old mother reported to police that her 17-year-old son was walking south along Tibru Street when a silver Chevrolet Equinox pulled up beside him. The driver allegedly attempted to force the teen into the vehicle. The student managed to break free and ran from the scene, prompting the vehicle to speed off south along Tibru Street. The young man told police that the suspect appeared to be a light-complexioned male, approximately 70 years old. And in related news, social media reports surfaced today of children also being harassed by persons presenting as missionaries in Benque Viejo. They were in a white van, harassing, in the words of one parent, children to participate in their religious activities. Parents have since been complaining on social media and have called local police to intervene. Meanwhile, this morning, the Toledo Land and Lease Owners, a fairly new organization, were guests on Sun Up on 7. The group was formed to protect the interests of those who own private property in Toledo as the government works to implement the CCJ consent order, which will recognize communal land rights. Well, two members of the group, Lisel Alamia and Andy Johnson, explained that they believe their rights and their property are in danger with the current draft proposal. Here's more.
The idea is to kind of mobilize people to say, we're here, start coming out, start participating, because we have public meetings where we give them updates. And whenever we have something significant to share with them, we share it with them. We are a volunteer organization, and our monies we raise through people's donation, as little as $10 coming from people from very far villages. And we've been able to retain an attorney to review the draft legislation and to advise us on what the impact of that bill would be if it were to go through as is. You could have that lease or that title for 65 years. It doesn't matter. This bill is saying that those titles and leases will automatically be extinguished.
The Constitution would say that you need to be adequately compensated. So I know how it works is that the market value of that would be compensated back to you. I mean, so that would probably include your investments and everything like that. However, in lieu of money, another piece of land of that same...
Yeah, but we don't want to live nowhere.
Right.
You know, just vaguely, I would say the bill seeks to protect Maya land tenure. And it does exactly that, with no regard of other ethnic groups in Toledo. You know, we have East Indian, we have Creole, we have Garifuna people, and including some of our members are members of CARICOM. And we have Canadian and US expats that reside there now and have investments there, you know, and it takes a toll, because never before have you had a medium through which they could seek protection or come to, and that's why we exist. We advocate for the protections of private and leased landowners in regards to this bill.
And for those wanting to see that interview, Sun Up repeats at 8 p.m. tonight on Channel 7. Meanwhile, the National Agriculture and Trade Show Committee 2026 Farmer of the Year competition titles remained in the Cayo district this year, courtesy of the Government Press Office. Saulo Mesh, Yoalma Pocasangre, and Jeshua Sib were able to tell us about their individual journeys. Our very own Jaleesa Roberts reports.
Belize is celebrating the backbone of its food security, honoring 3 outstanding farmers whose lives are rooted in agriculture. From a determined woman farmer in Valley of Peace to a teenage agricultural prodigy and a veteran farmer carrying on a family legacy. This year's Farmers of the Year represent a diverse industry. At just 33 years old, Yoel Mapoka Sangre has spent over 2 decades farming, building a livelihood from 7 acres of land in Valley of Peace.
I grew up in a family of working at the farm. My dad grew me up since I was a child, grew me up working with him. I was like the one, I was going every day with him to the mountain to work. I work hard with him. Like whenever we have to spray, I will be there with the pump spraying the cucumber, the tomato, and also whenever it's the cutting, I will have him cutting the tomato. I'll have him cutting the cucumber, and if we have to do the irrigation. In those days, I remember doing it with bucket. I will go and get the bucket and pull up the bucket, and that was more hard in those days. Now it's more easy because everything have changed in the irrigation system. But in those days, it was very hard. And also, I went to school. I just have primary school. I just went into standard 6. And then I remember in my days, in the morning, I have to wake up early because I have to go help my dad first at the farm.
While teenagers are still figuring out their future, one 16-year-old boy is already cultivating his. Jesua Sib, Junior Farmer of the Year 2026, is not only growing crops, but continuing a proud family tradition of agricultural excellence.
Well, my great-grandfather is from the family of my mom. He won Farmer of the Year by doing agriculture too. And he used to grow cabbages, lettuce, plantains, bananas, all kinds of things, and livestock too. And my uncle is one too, my dad, and I got that emotion, that way how he started planting. He tells me what he plants, a lot of crops, and I like to imagine myself how it was those times. So I want to do like him when I grow up more older. So I try to do my best to harvest a lot like him. I was a little kid and he used to brought me, and I used to go with him under the barn and milk the cows. And after that, then my grandma's make the cheese, and then I go sell cheese in the evening. So I like doing that. That's why since when I saw that gave me a motivation so I could continue.
With over 30 years of experience, this year's Male Farmer of the Year has turned generations of knowledge into a thriving farm and a lasting legacy. But he says one of the greatest challenges is the weather.
It is very hard to predict the weather because some years it does goes well in the weather, but following year the weather changes. So it's hard to decide on what could come ahead of us. Sometimes we do have some issue too. Yeah, sometimes we have some water shortages. That is the time when our plants, sometimes we get discouraged.
This is a sentiment also shared by the Junior Farmer of the Year.
Well, when there's time of rain, there's sometimes that there is discouraged by the too much rain, hurricanes or tropical storms. Sometimes you have 8,000 plants of tomatoes. When the rain comes, it will not say it will stop. That will continue and continue. And when you come to pull tomatoes, you will just see tomatoes on the floor because you lost everything in your crop. And that's a big loss.
All 3 of them had something to say to others who might be interested in agriculture.
My dad teach me this. He was the one who would teach me this, and he always say that there is the food. If you want, you have to plant, and there is the food for it. It's challenging, but you have to keep insisting and insisting, so you could persist in life.
I could tell them that they could get involved in farming, but sometimes farming is very rough sometimes, yeah. But I still encourage them to get involved in farm because farming, you produce in what you consume. You don't have to buy.
My dad used to tell me it's better to go plant in the soil on the farm better because you see your money more faster. And if you go study, it's good. It's not. I don't say it's not bad, but it takes a long procedure so you could see your money back. But as you come to the farm, you plant. In a month, you're harvesting. you have your money there, so you start to increase, or you want to expand your farm more, or you want to do another spend on, or you want to try another crop. You plant and you try to see the experience. How is it?
They will be a part of the 2026 National Agriculture and Trade Show. Lisa Roberts, 7 News.
The National Agriculture and Trade Show 2026 is scheduled for April 30th to May 3rd under the theme Advancing Smart Agriculture, Building a Climate Resilient and Sustainable Belizean Food Systems. And in other agricultural news, the governments of Belize and Mexico have officially launched Phase 2 of the Sembrando Vidas, or Sowing Lives, project. The launch ceremony was held in San Narciso, Corozal. Phase 2 builds on agreements signed on May 7th of 2022 during a visit by then Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. The project's first phase launched in June of 2023 and benefited approximately 2,000 small farmers across Belize. CEO at the Ministry of Agriculture, Servio Baiza, spoke on how Phase 1 of the project has benefited the livelihood of small farmers.
The first phase of the project was launched in June of 2023, benefiting some 2,000 small farmers. And so today, we witness the launch of Phase 2 of the project, with another 2,000 Belizean small farmers set to benefit. The Sembrando Vida project goals are goals that reflect sustainability and resilience in agriculture, improving the livelihoods of our small farmers by involving them in programs and projects that ensure and promote self-reliance in food security, rebuilding of the social network of rural communities, and recovery of the environment. This takes place through the planting and growing food crops and trees, which in turn ensure our food security and that we revive our forests. This takes care of two major problems that Belize shares with Central America: dealing with poverty and degradation of the environment, particularly deforestation.
Foreign Service Officer Kevin Berganza said that the initiative reflects strong bilateral cooperation between Belize and Mexico, particularly in advancing socioeconomic development through agriculture.
Through the successful implementation of the first phase, we have witnessed firsthand how targeted support to small farmers has strengthened rural livelihoods. Financial assistance, capacity building initiatives, and the provision of agricultural inputs have contributed to improve income stability, enhance food production, and more secure futures for participating families. Equally important is the project's contribution to national food security. By increasing agricultural productivity and promoting crop diversification, Belize has strengthened its capacity to sustainably feed its population while reducing reliance on external sources. In today's increasingly uncertain global environment, such resilience is invaluable for small developing states like Belize. The project also continues to champion sustainable agricultural practices. It focuses on agroforestry, soil conservation, and climate-smart techniques that ensures that we are not only cultivating crops, but also safeguarding Belize's natural resources for future generations.
And finally tonight, the Firearms and Ammunition Control Board have lifted the moratorium on licenses for .223 rifles. It is cause for celebration amongst gun dealers, as evidenced by Darwin Gallardo of the Outdoorsman Lounge when he made this post today.
There were bigger caliber rounds that were being approved other than .223, but the .223 specifically was demonized. we as a board decided to ask why. Why the moratorium? The only explanation we could get was that there was a temporary moratorium until an audit was done. So then we said, okay, what's the status of the audit? Crickets. There was an audit conducted, but the status of it, along with the all parties concerned, it was never finalized. And this isn't the board saying that, oh, okay, every Jack, Jill, and Susie could know.
This finally legal, my friends. Finally legal. Great news. First off, huge thanks to the FACB board. All right, for listening to our cries, to our emails, to our reasonings, to the dealer meetings that we've had. You know, I always make it a point that every dealer meeting I talk about it and talk about the attachments and whatnot. And as you saw in the letters, you know, it's page 1, page 2. Find it online. You know, it clearly says, you know, such as a Ronnie kit doesn't change or manipulate the power of the weapon. You know, it doesn't. It's an accessory. So the same way as a firearm, it has a rail that holds a light, and if you're optic ready, it has a flat surface or a surface where you attach your red dot sight. You know, you're not modifying. We're not welding anything. Modifying would be, shit, let's say you have a 18-inch barrel on your shotgun and you're like, man, I want to extend this, you know, and you go and get a piece of tuber from another shotgun and you cut it and you start welding it. You can do that. Machine shops, amazing. But you're modifying. That's illegal, so don't do that. But this is great news. Again, thanks to the FACB board, all the board members, the minister, the CEO. I'm pretty sure it's a group of them that make this happen, and this is great.
But beyond the excitement, Jules Vasquez discussed the board initiative and the finer points with the chairman of the board.
There were bigger caliber rounds that were being approved other than 223, but the 223 specifically was demonized. We as a board decided to ask why. Why the moratorium? The only explanation we could get was that there was a temporary moratorium until an audit was done. So then we said, okay, what's the status of the audit? Crickets. There was an audit conducted, but the status of it, along with the all parties concerned, it was never finalized. And this isn't the board saying that, oh, okay, every Jack, Jill, and Susie could now come apply for a rifle. No, there are very legitimate reasons why people want to apply for these caliber rifles. And this was really the catalyst that changed or pushed us in the direction of this decision. The Cattle Farmers Association reached out to us, and I hope he doesn't mind that I call his name, Mr. William Osha specifically. And he showed us some documentation of videos and pictures of the cattle farmers being basically destroyed by coyotes. So there's a very serious coyote problem in the cattle farming industry, and the coyotes have a keen sense of smell. So the smaller caliber, you can't get close enough to shoot them with a shotgun. The 22 rifles weren't big enough to even affect them, and the 223 rifle wasn't allowed, or 223 ammunition wasn't allowed. They came to us with all of the relevant documentation, and they came to us with a very legitimate reason for us to lift this moratorium. So it's not us relaxing the criteria for getting one of them. We will still be we will scrutinize everything very keenly. But those that have a legitimate reason, like the cattle farmers who are really under duress right now. The coyotes aren't natural to bleed. They're coming over from Mexico and from Guatemala and feasting on our cattle. So we're trying to help them out. I know that there was one incident where I believe it was after a funeral, tempers were flaring and someone pulled out a 223. He didn't fire any rounds, but that was a licensed rifle. So in situations like that, absolutely we would not well, we would immediately have to take away that license from the individual. But also, those aren't the types of conditions that we would award a license. It's particularly for legitimate, like the farming.
It seemed that licenses for 223 rifles were being issued willy-nilly, were being issued indiscriminately, and that they had ended up as expensive and dangerous toys in the back seats of fancy vehicles, at a funeral where there's a family dispute, that licenses had been given out indiscriminately. You say, all right, we're doing it for farmers for a specific reason. But inevitably, because these are sought after weapons, these are status weapons for people who like to pretend to be dangerous. How will you all ensure that it does not end up in that space again, where civilians who only use it for the glamour, the perceived glamour of violence, will be seeking out these licenses?
It is every Belizean's right to apply, but I can tell you that if there is not a legitimate reason, the current board will not approve for glamour reasons any high-powered rifle, anything of the sort. We have been very careful in reviewing every single application, and I can tell you, many applications have come in with high-level recommendations that we have denied because we didn't feel that the justification given was legitimate.
What constitutes, in the thinking of the board, a legitimate reason to request a license for a .223 rifle?
So in the case of the .223 firearm, it would have to be in the realm of you're a farmer, that you have a pest problem. You would have to be a hunter, because there are some, and you would have to justify that the type of game that you hunt, and typically that's not in Belize. I'm just saying in the realm of what would be legitimate in my mind. Or there are some sport shooters, people that are a part of shooting clubs, where the shooting club would say like, hey, he shoots for us, and those are the types of long range rounds that they do sport shooting with. I would say those are probably legitimate reasons, but each one would be scrutinized, each one would be carefully looked at, and then we would deliberate and see if it's warranted of issuing a license for that firearm or ammunition.
And that's all we have for you on 7 News on this Thursday night. Thank you so much for watching. I am Miriam Abdul-Kawi. You can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a good night and join Jo Marie Lanza back here tomorrow at the same time. Have a good night, folks.